Well, good morning, everybody. This is Capri in Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, here to show you how I leveled from levels 41 through 50 Botanist on my alt. This is my third video of this particular project, and if you watched my previous videos, you will know that I have been farming items that I farm on a daily basis anyways, and I'm leveling without the use of leaves. However, if you wish to speed up your process, or if you want to get to the next tier of Botany in your gathering log, feel free to use your leaves. Okay, to start off, I was level 41 and I went strong. I went to Upper Lenasia to discover Sigoli Sage, Black Scorpion, Roland Berry, and Dart Frog. Remember, every time you discover a new material on a gathering class, you gain an additional experience bonus. After that, I went to Korthos and I discovered Mistletoe and Mirror Apples. After farming an entire row of Mirror Apples, I was level 42. It was at this point that I decided to farm for all of my class quests. So, starting with my 45 class quest, I picked up 40 high-quality mistletoe. I'm actually grabbing double of what I needed for my class quest so I could sell the other half. Then I farmed 40 high-quality ramhorn zucchini, which got me up to level 43. After that, I headed to Southern Thanalan and picked up 40 high-quality laurel. Then I headed down to Quarry Mill in the South Shroud and I picked up 30 alligator pear high quality. On my way to pick up chamomile for my level 25 quest, I got a little distracted and I farmed up 2 stacks of grade 1 carbonized matter, which is in Western Lenasia. Then I headed to Upper Lenasia to get 30 high quality chamomile. Then I went to the Central Shroud, and at first I went to the wrong node, but I decided to discover what's on here anyway since I hadn't farmed here yet, which that got me a little boost in experience. And then I went to the correct node and I got 20 high quality fresh majorum. And after that, I decided to finish up with my level 10 quest by picking up 2 stacks of crow feathers, which by the way is a vendor item, but I didn't care at the moment since I was watching a video anyways. I was still level 43 when I completed all of my class quests, so I decided to start farming for Gil. I went and picked up a handful of elm logs until I saw that my mirror apples were selling off the shelf, so I went and grabbed some more. Farming an entire row of mirror apples got me up to level 44, and then after that I decided to farm dart frogs. It seemed like a actually surprisingly quick market and decent value for the time I put into it, and it was at the top of my gathering log, so I was gaining the optimal XP per hour. Farming an entire row of dart frogs got me up to level 45, and at that point I decided to continue farming for Gil by going out to Eastern Lenasia, and I went and farmed a full row of salt leek, as well as I discovered dragon pepper, midland basil, and mandrake. After that, I ran to Lower Lenasia and I grabbed a full row of sun lemons, because these are a material that really it sells off the shelf, and I really considered getting Highland parsley as well. But instead, I decided to go with Midland cabbage because I had already sold through all of my stocks from farming it previously. During the time that I farmed all of that Midland cabbage, I sold all of my mirror apples again. So I returned up there and I got to level 46 farming an entire row of mirror apples. At level 46, I opened up the ability called Truth of the Forest. Truth of the Forest allows you to see unspoiled nodes, which is the most advanced item that you can farm on any gathering class. I will be covering unspoiled nodes later in the video, as well as I will make another video about advanced farming. And in the middle of my farming for mirror apples, I decided, since it popped up, to go get spruce logs, which is my level 50 quest item. When I finished farming all of those mirror apples, I was still level 46, and I went and got desert saffron, which I had already sold. So if you've noticed, I'm going back and farming the things as I sell them. At this point, I decided to get back on track with farming items that will give me the optimal experience per hour. So I discovered rosewood branch, and I farmed an entire row of rosewood logs. The unspoiled node for crawler cocoon spawned during the time that I was farming rosewood logs, so I went and discovered that, and I went back to continue finishing my row of rosewood log. When I finished my entire row of rosewood logs, I was level 47, and guess what? I once again sold through all of my mirror apples, so I went back up there and farmed another row of that. During this entire time, I left up my Truth of the Forest, and when it spawned, I went and discovered vampire plant. After discovering the vampire plant and farming through an entire row of mirror apples, I went out and I discovered Thanalan tea leaves and the other things that spawn off of it. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Farming an entire row of Thanalan tea leaves, that got me up to level 49. Okay, so when I finished up with that, I went and discovered and farmed an entire row of grade 3 carbonized matter, which, by the way, is a great place to farm for your maps. And while I was doing this, I tested a theory to see if Blessed Harvest number 2 increased how much experience per swing I got, but it does not. So keep that in mind. You're actually aiming for the chain bonus. So instead of using Blessed Harvest, you're going to be using Field Mastery. Okay, now it's time to start talking about unspoiled nodes. In order to see an unspoiled node, you need to have your buff Truth of the Forests up. Anytime you switch a class, or job I should say, when you return to Botanist, you need to reapply it. The next thing you need to know about unspoiled node farming is that you need to know when and where something is. There is a website called the Final Fantasy 14 Clock, and I'll be sure to link that at the end. But it tells you when things spawn and where to find them. Right now is a great time for you to make sure that the clock above your minimap is set to Eorzea time, or ET. Right now it is probably set to local time. Unspoiled nodes are active every day in Eorzea time from 1 a.m. to 9 p.m. There is about a 16-minute timer between spawns, so you have about 15 minutes to grab everything while they are active, and then you get to wait for the next set. When you first show up to an unspoiled node, everything is covered, and you have to swing in order to uncover it. When you're level 50 and you have gear, it only takes 1 swing to uncover, but as you're leveling, it takes 3. Okay, so at 1 o'clock a.m. Eorzea time, I was in Mordana, and I went and discovered grade 4 carbonized matter. After that, I went back to the Hawthorn Hut and I picked up more crawler cocoons. Now, you might be thinking that this system is really annoying, and it kind of can be, but at the same time, because of the limit of how many you can collect in a day, this keeps the market stable and they don't crash half as often. At 5 o'clock a.m. Eorzea time, I went back to Mordana and I discovered lightning crystals, or clusters I should say. Every day between 1 o'clock a.m. and 9 o'clock a.m., botanists get their spawns in Mordana, which is the grade 4 carbonized matter, as well as all the clusters. For miners, they have their clusters in grade 4 carbonized matter during the evening, so 1 p.m. Eorzea time to 9 p.m. or Eorzea time. Alright, so after that lightning cluster, I went back to the Hawthorn Hut, and on slot number 1 at 5 o'clock a.m. Eorzea time, you will uncover Trillium. Then I teleported to Costa del Sol and went and discovered Honey Lemon. If you notice, I'm actually gaining experience really slow right now, and that's because I can't spam this out. And I'm actually gaining more experience from discovering new locations than I am from discovering and farming up these unspoiled nodes. At 9 o'clock a.m. Eorzea time, I went back to Mordana, and this time I discovered fire clusters. As you're working on unspoiled nodes while you're leveling, you notice that you will not be able to pick up high-quality items at all. That is because you don't have the perception rate to pick them up yet. So even if you did use an ability, you don't have the baseline perception to qualify. When you farm unspoiled nodes for guild, try to make sure that you have at least 350 GP on your character at all times. That way you can always use your leaf turn and your field mastery abilities to make sure that you get and qualify for the items. And in the video, I just got done farming for spruce logs, and now I went down to Costa del Sol and I'm picking up prickly pineapple. At this point, I am done with the Mordana spawns until 1 o'clock a.m. Eorzea time again. I stuck around in eastern Lanasia and I waited for damsel tomatoes, which spawn at 1 o'clock p.m. And earlier I told you that it does take about 16 minutes between spawns. And to go through the entire route of these unspoiled node farms, it takes about an hour to be able to touch all of them. After that, I teleported to Camp Drybone, and north of there spawns the black truffles. Using unspoiled node farming as a guild making method works great for people who like to AFK often. No matter what you choose, find something that matches your playstyle and go with it. I then went back up to Korthos and I went and farmed some more vampire plants since it spawned then. I stuck around in Korthos until 5 o'clock p.m. Eorzea time when I went to discover something named mistletoe. Don't make me try to say that. And after that, at this point it's been about 45 minutes, and the last thing to spawn is at 9 o'clock p.m. and then it starts right back again at 1 a.m. At 9 o'clock p.m. spawns Kedragora and Trillium Bulb, and I picked up 3 Kedragora, which are minions. The 9 p.m. spawns were the last things to be farmed in that little route, and I decided at that point I was done with the waiting around, so I went and did some more gill farming, and I picked up flax until I was level 50. Alright, I would like to thank you for watching my video, even though it was twice as long as my normal ones, and I would like to invite you back next week when I sell through as much as I can in the next few days, and show you how much gill I made by leveling Botany from level 18 to 50. And I'll tell you what, this next video is going to be a whopper, because even though I haven't started that video yet, I have over 500,000 waiting to be pulled off of my retainer, and I still have over 100 items left to list.